Hello and welcome to the Nonsense Chronicles. This is Doug Sashery, and as always, I am joined by
Rob Mendiola.
Greetings, Rob.
Greetings, Doug.
Well, it's a hot, dry day in Texas today, isn't it?
It's a little dry. It's a little humid also, but
Well, I mean, it's because we had about 2 billion gallons of water drop on us in the last couple of days, and then it's rising up into the atmosphere now. But nothing will come back down. It's like when I played football, I remember like the worst thing it could do would be just rain a little bit and then stop because it would be, oh my God.
Slipping and sliding?
No, the humidity was
just trying to breathe that.
Unbelievable. Yeah, if just a little rain, it was like scorching you, man.
Texas weather when it gets humid is really hard to breathe.
Yeah, and Louisiana wasn't much different.
Well, now that you're right on the same.
Yeah, that was the old days, the 2 days. I don't know what they do now. I think they're a little bit smarter now. But today, speaking of football. Yeah, we're going to talk again about, we're going to talk just a little bit. We're going to do another episode later as we get closer to the release date. But today we're going to be talking EA College Football 26 with our friend Victor Vasquez of FAIRDALE Kings. What's up, Victor?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
We are good, man. We are good. And I've noticed... I noticed there was a little bit out yesterday, and then there was, of course, a release this morning, man. What'd you see on that release this morning?
There's a lot to kind of unpack. You're going to see maybe the biggest thing that was a surprise to everyone was the dynamic lighting. So if you have a 4 o'clock kickoff, you might see it start with daylight and then transition to dusk and then total darkness.
I did like,
but it's going to, yeah.
No, I was going to ask you. I don't think we couldn't adjust the kickoff times, could we, on our schedule before? Could we? We couldn't do that, could we?
No, in a play now game, an exhibition game, you can have a noon kickoff, 4 o'clock.
But the dynasty, you couldn't.
Dynasty was locked in. You guys were playing it. For instance, you had game of the week. You might be playing the 8 o'clock game.
Yeah,
but other than that, no, you couldn't change game kickoff times.
Yeah, because LSU, I know for a fact, had more afternoon games. And I was wondering, was Lane Kiffin's crybaby ass the one that reason why? Because he said, man, LSU gets to play night games all the time. And that's because that's our tradition, baby. But
yeah, man, I did that video last year about that.
That's right.
Always playing on the road. Back-to-back years. So did that little skit.
Yeah, that is. I did notice that, and I also I noticed that. Well, the first video, I think maybe it was yesterday. It might have been yesterday. I noticed that, of course, they have the coaches in this year, and which they didn't have before.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And people are saying, see, this is why I was saying we didn't have to have license to go with the exact players. I didn't care as a player. I didn't care. I would create a guy and look like him, whoever I want to look like. But somebody said the coach that they showed, of course, was Ryan Day, and they said that doesn't look like the coach's name of Ohio State. His name is Ryan Day, and they said it didn't look like him. It looked like maybe Ryan Week or Ryan Month. They were being a smart ass about it. But did you hear that? Did you hear those conversations?
Yeah, there are. Some of the players or some of the coaches have great likeness, and then there's a couple that's that doesn't look nothing like that guy. So I don't know how much time went into, face scanning and how many coaches actually participated in that and sent in, screenshots to help. From my perspective,
that's fine by me.
This is a big sell for the coaches. I mean, when you've got these coaches on there, a lot of times in college, that's the face of the program. NFL, the players, speak volumes. But in college, it's going to be interesting to see if Bill Belichick is in the game because he's never been on Madden.
Ooh, that's true. I never thought about that. Yeah,
he was a generic coach. So there would be 31 coaches on Madden, and then
Pat's coach.
He was the one guy that was generic.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's a lot of people throwing shade his way because of everything else going on with his personal life and his girlfriend, whoever the heck she is.
God bless.
It's just, for me, when I watched the trailer and they showed one of the first stadiums was North Carolina with the spotlight and going crazy, I'm sitting there thinking, if Belichick is really smart about this, he can use his likeness in this game. It's a recruiting tool. That's all it is.
Oh,
He's
it's
not going to make a
huge.
bunch of money being in a game. But if any of the boosters there in that school say, hey, we want you in this game, I mean, you're a representative of the school. We're paying you now. What's it going to hurt, to have him on the game? But the bigger surprise, and I don't know, they said over 300 real-world coaches. I think that number is actually going to be larger. I think when they say the real-world coaches, they're talking about actual head coaches. At least that's what I'm hoping. Because what we did discover today, though, after the trailer, schools started releasing tweets on X saying that so-and-so was in the game.
Yeah.
University of Louisville actually has both the offensive and defensive coordinators in the game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It just makes it more realistic because when you play Dynasty, you're going to create yourself or whatever. But what we did last year in our dynasties that we ran 5-star as well as 1-star. I went in before I invited everyone in and took control of all the teams and changed the names of every head coach. And the reason I did that is, even though I invited people, was like I took over the Ohio State job. Well, Ryan Day didn't have a job the first year. But in our second year of Dynasty, because he was sitting out there, he took over the Colorado State job. So as we progress through our Dynasty, you can see the coaches moving and changing jobs. Now, you couldn't do any edits on, the assistant coaches. We kind of knew, generic coach's name, and I can, pair them up with whatever. And a lot of that, you could tie together what playbooks they had. But it's going to be, for me, just the realistic part of it, and that's what we've always looked for, is to see how these coaches progress, especially like, for instance, at Louisville. I'll use that because they're in my backyard. Brian Brom is our offensive coordinator. It'll be neat to see him, 3 years into Dynasty. Maybe he takes, I don't know, the Miami job, or maybe he's at Appalachian State and then he progresses. So it'll be fun when you start looking at the coaching carousel and how that progresses throughout the duration of your dynasty.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, having the assistant coaches in there is really cool because, you will see them get jobs if you play Dynasty like we do. They'll get jobs, so their names they'll be head coaches eventually, and that's back in the day when we played, that's what you saw, so.
And not every assistant coach has signed up. Like, for instance, Florida State, I noticed that, of course, Mike Norvell, the head coach, is there, and it has just their defensive coordinator, Tony White. The shock to me, I didn't know this, Nebraska, Dana Hogerson's the offensive coordinator at Nebraska?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know that. And what about? Isn't it Malzahn over at Florida State as a coordinator? He left.
Yeah, he wasn't, and probably that's why is that Malzahn's the offensive coordinator. So maybe, he didn't want to be in here. But I'm looking right now because I'm scrolling because as all these messages were coming out on X, I was retweeting it or doing it in my own version. Charlie Weiss Jr., offensive coordinator, Ole Miss. Tino Sunseri, which I remember him from being quarterback at, I think it was Pitt back in the day, is the OC at, UCLA, so he's on here. Wink Martindale, former defensive coordinator with the Ravens. He's the D coordinator, and he's on the game for Michigan. You guys, LSU. Everyone else had a common theme. They got the coach, they got UCLA in the background. And I'll be doggone, man, if LSU don't come out with a cover of College Football 26 and they got, head coach Brian Kelly there and Coach Baker and Coach Long. So they went a different route than everyone else who had the stock release, that EA probably sent out to them and allowed them to, put their coach on there and then, type in the other messages. LSU's the only one who went a different route with their, announcement of their coach in the game.
Yeah, I think that's pretty.
Of course, you guys are going to be different.
Yeah, it's a big man. It's a big marketing tool, man. To me, college football is basically like influencer central, man. I mean, that's basically what it is. And in fact, that's what it seems like Belichick's girlfriend,
Jordan Hudson.
You know her name?
Yeah, she's in like everything right now.
Oh my God,
she's all over the news, man.
Now, it's funny that Rob couldn't tell me the coach's name probably, but he could tell me his girlfriend's name. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
With her high heels on the turf over there. But it seemed like she's trying to increase his image. So what if anything, she's doing a good job of doing that. But
I mean, because college football is all marketing. You know, you've got to sit there and sell the program, and you know, if you can sell yourself as a head coach with a personality, I mean, I believe, and it's my opinion, not everyone agrees with it. A lot of people don't like him. But, man, you've got to really give credit to Deion Sanders and the way he was able to turn around Colorado in just 2 short years, you know. And, yeah, they only won 4 games that first year. But you know what? They were all over TV. It was the place to be. There was, you know, rappers and actors and everyone else, celebrities who were attending Colorado games that would have never went to a Colorado University football game.
No, in fact,
and it became an event.
He did a good job of bringing some hype to that program. And, now it's going to be interesting to see how he does now that his son's gone and that, you know, the wide receiver, Hunter, and, you know, the / defensive back, and now that he's gone. So a couple of dynamic players are gone. But, you know, it's actually kind of good for him. I'm not sure how his recruiting is, but I'm sure it had to be pretty decent. He's 3rd year.
He's got the kid. Yeah, he got that kid from Liberty, the quarterback. But on top of that, not only did he get that stud quarterback from Liberty, and this is where they might have some issues, hell, he went and signed a 5-star quarterback to come in this year. So, I mean, I'm sure they're thinking probably the freshman won't be ready. But in this new age and era, if I'm getting paid NIL money, I don't want to get paid to sit on the bench. I mean, I'm coming in as a 5-star. I'm thinking I'm going to play. And that's what they recruited him to do. And now he might be sitting over at first year holding the clipboard. Now, hey, it worked at Texas with Manning.
Yeah, I'll say Manning waited.
And, you know, he played, you know, some downs and whatnot. I mean, I think Legway at Florida had a decent year. I'm not sold on the kid. You know, I had some back and forth, I guess, with some people yesterday on Twitter because I'm calling him out. Freshman, he went 6-1, but it's like his stats don't blow you away. And then, you know, for me, coaching high school football for 20 years and, you know, and then having the luxury, the honor of watching Lamar Jackson as a freshman who threw for more yards, was actually had a twice as good as the QBR rating. Oh, and did I mention that he also ran for 1,000 yards as a true freshman? And then Legway, you know, plays the same amount of games that Lamar did his freshman year. And, you know, he had about 50 yards rushing and, you know, and the back and forth and the nonsense. Well, he was injured. Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, he won games. Yeah, we'll give him that. 6-1. But that defense balled out, and they played some teams like Florida State to finish 2-10. Ole Miss, which, you know, yeah, okay, they beat Ole Miss. You know who else beat Ole Miss last year? Kentucky. Buddy, I'm not saying you tell me that Kentucky beat you. You ain't very good. You ain't very good.
Now, you know, to be, you know, some of those, it's, now we go to, how many teams? We got 12-team playoff this year, right?
12-team playoff this year. And then, you know, I'm throwing salt. Look, for me, I'm probably a little bit more salty than anyone else. You know, and I watch a lot of football. So it's not just, you know, I'm looking at, no, I'm watching games from the kickoff at 12 till the games are over at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. I'm watching the damn Tuesday night games with the MAC. I'm watching the Mountain West. I watch everything. There's football on TV. I'm not only watching it, I've got YouTube. So I've probably got 8 games up simultaneously because, you know, I do that split screen. So I've got 8 games watching them throughout the whole day. So I'm monitoring everything. But my point was, Legway, I convinced him to transfer in my dynasty. So he ended up as my quarterback in New Mexico.
Oh, my God.
And damn it, man, he just wasn't very good. Oh, he wasn't very good. He left Florida after his freshman year and jumped in the portal. You know, and I used him, and, you know, someone made a comment, well, just, you're not good. I'm sitting there thinking, right now, buddy, in the road to college football playoff, I'm in the Heisman level. I'm in the top 50,000 crowd, and I'll probably be way higher. I didn't even start playing CFP until January or February. So I just don't have the amount of games. I win over 80% of my games. So don't tell me I don't know how to play the game, and that's why I suck. But anyway, I mean, my point being, that's probably where some of that comes from. But also, I want my guy on the cover. I'm fighting for Isaac Brown from the University of Louisville, who last year as a true freshman ran for 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, and over 7 yards a carry. There's only been one other guy in NCAA football history who had that same stat line as a freshman, and that was Nick Chubb at Georgia. One other person. And, when you look at all the rankings and all that stuff this year, PFF, ESPN, CBS, everyone who does this, preseason hype, Isaac Brown's in the top 3 category for running backs. He's only a true sophomore with Jeremiah Love and Nick Singleton of Penn State. He's in that class. And then when you combine also Duke Watson, also a true freshman last year, Louisville's going to have one of the best duos of running backs in the country, bar none. So I was just being a little salty.
It's okay.
I'm sitting there politicking for my guy.
You know how I feel about.
You look at that cover sheet, and everyone else that has credentials. I don't care. You talk about Jeremiah Love. You got Jeremiah Smith. You got Ryan Williams at Alabama.
Well, look who Michigan.
Nussmeier's on there from LSU.
Yeah, look who Michigan put on. Look who Michigan put on theirs. Did you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
You got
all these guys.
The kid that Barstool overpaid to go and leave LSU to commit. Well, his commitment to LSU to go to Michigan. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, it's wild. But I'm looking at all these other guys because someone's like, well, why didn't you call out anyone else? Because everyone else brings credentials to the table. Even Dylan Stewart, the defensive end from South Carolina. I thought Lenore Sellers is actually better than DJ Lakeway. He performed better last year. If you're going to look at a freshman quarterback, I'm going Sellers. But EA wasn't going to put 2 Gamecocks on the cover. They put Stewart, who was the number 1 rated player coming out of high school, and absolutely went off last year at defensive end for them. So, everyone else, I'm like, checks the box. Lagway's the only one. So that's where.
Oh, look, I can tell you this, man. Clock's ticking with the coach there, man. They survived that last year because they turned things around. But I guarantee you, they start the season 2-1 or 2-2. They might be a change pretty quick.
Yeah, no, for sure. And here's the thing. Here's why Lagway's on the cover, just like Tebow. Tebow's on the cover this year. I mean, we're putting old players on there. I mean, you had him and you had the kid from Michigan. He's on the cover, old player. But anyway, the point was, EA Sports Studio is in Orlando, Florida. Yep. There's a lot of Gator fans. Gainesville's 60 miles up the road, man. So that's why they put him on there. He's in their backyard. So they're going to sit there. They've gone over to the Swamp several times. They've got probably one of the most realistic stadiums in the game, and they all look really good. Don't get that twisted. But it's easy for them to jump in the car and drive up the road and scan the kicking nets and the goal post and the pylons in the end zone. And the benches.
That's their go-to.
They've spent a lot of time, there in the Swamp doing that leg work. And then when you go to the other stadiums, you just scan the seats and the tunnels and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But all that other little stuff, that's from the University of Florida. They don't even go to Central Florida and do this. They're going to the Swamp.
Did you notice that I saw at Neyland, like they have the lights and everything, the fireworks, and it's supposed to be a lot more dynamic this year in the game, which I'm looking forward to that, the experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there watching the trailer right now. I've got it in the background because there's, been several guys that had access. They were at EA today. So, they're limited. I hate the embargoes. I mean, you remember last year I went to EA myself.
It is what it is.
I couldn't. Yeah, I mean, you're given a directive. There might be probably 8 to 10 guys that were there today. And they're all said, okay, you're going to focus on Dynasty, and you're going to focus on Road to Glory, and you're going to focus on head-to-head. And that's why these guys come out with all these videos, and, it's nothing bad about it. I mean, we've got everyone who has, hey, here's what you're going to focus your attention on. So we get all these guys with their opinions. And they're selling. I mean, they want to go back to EA. They're not going to badmouth them. But you're still limited on what you can say, what you've seen. The fact that one of the developers, Skylar Gallagher, today talked about they've got new blitzes and twists and stuff like that. You can change your zones yourself. So I'm sure we're going to have some dynamic zones in the game where, you can adjust that where people can't just throw a corner out against you all game long. And, you're sitting there trying to figure out how am I going to stop this? I'm going to put my, corners in hard flats, but I'm going to put them at 25 yards so I can maybe stop a corner route. And then, your hook curls, you've got at 0 yards so you can cover a hard flat. I mean, it's just like, what are we doing? But that's going to be in the game. It's going to be interesting to see some of these videos that come out. I think next week or 2 weeks from now, we'll get hit hard with a lot of this. EA is trying to control the narrative. Don't get, that part twisted. They got upset with some people, probably myself included, who leaked the cover of the, of the game. So that's why they had that other cover, which, is spectacular. The one they have right now, they've got 2 of them. You've got the one with the flags behind it, which is the 2 individual players, Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. But then you've got the others that has everyone there on the deluxe edition. That's a pretty damn sharp photo, man, that they took out there in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. And you've got all the coaches there and everyone involved. But EA wasn't happy when the people who shot that photo shoot leaked that in February or March.
Yeah, that's never going to be good, man.
Yeah, and then on top of that, then I released last week. It was a short week, but the streets were talking. I sent out a tweet saying, hey, trailer might be coming out Wednesday. And they changed all that up and moved people around and said, hey, we want y'all to come in now next week. So everyone's there now in Orlando today. They're probably wrapping up things, I'm sure, going out to dinner. But they did this reveal. It was a 1:50 video. I mean, it doesn't change a whole lot. I mean, you're not going to, move the earth and put a bunch of changes in. But there's a nice little additions to this game, as far as receivers running routes and the way they catch the ball with the animations. And you see a lot more stuff. Mascots are now going to be in the game. I don't know how many, but, you did see Bully. You saw, which was, Mississippi State's mascot. And you've seen the Hokie from Virginia Tech. You see Cocky from South Carolina. You see the Rider from Texas Tech. So, it's those little things, man, that makes everyone so proud of college football, especially in the South. And it's not to say that they don't do. I mean, heck, they have the same passion at Ohio State and Michigan, but maybe some of the other schools in that area don't. But the South it's a little bit extra there. Texas, Florida, you live it and breathe it when you're in the South. And then they also, kind of switching over, Road to Glory this year. You're going to start your career in high school. And they had the hats out there. I'm pretty sure
I saw that.
When you make a commitment to a school, hey, man, let's put that swag on. It's little things that makes this so immersive.
Yeah,
and
those kids are going to eat that up, man.
They're going to eat that up.
Yeah.
And it's not just those kids, Doug. I mean, hell, I'm going to be 51 years old next week.
As a 59-year-old kid.
We were without,
we
were without this for 10 years, and I know some of this stuff was already in the previous games. But, you can't go in and make a first-year product and throw everything in the game that was there in 2014. You just can't do it.
I wonder what their sales numbers were.
They were the number one sports game.
Yeah, I know they were, but I wonder.
I don't know what the exact number was, but I know that this game, a lot of people anticipated it was going to be good. No one thought it was going to get the reception that it did. I mean, people were starving for this game.
God, they were, man.
Yeah, it's like Madden, but it's not Madden. And I understand that everyone wants sim and stuff like that, but they made this college football game fun. I'm watching guys in my dynasty. We play 5-minute quarters on Heisman. We're not playing on freshmen. We're not playing on whatever. We play on Heisman, the highest level, which, the computer's going to cheat a little bit. We just had a game, and now, look, we're in season 9. 114-80. And these two guys, I mean, they, it was almost a tie game, start of the fourth quarter. But they're putting up points, and they're trying everything they can, and they make a stop. It's like, hey, if I get one stop, it's going to be the difference of the game. But then, we have that. Oh, yeah. And then we have, guys that play, and we'll have a 10-7 game. We got one guy in the league who, you know him, B-Dogs.
Yeah.
Brandon runs the ball. every damn down. I mean, he's caused 2 people to quit our dynasties because he will run the ball from the time the ball's kicked off until the end of the game.
And they can't stop
He's figured
him.
out a little bit on how to throw the ball. You can't stop him because these young bucks, man, they get online and they play, ultimate team. They play cut or they'll play road to the college football playoff, and everyone's throwing the ball all over the yard. And it's like if they run the ball once or twice, like they're cussing. My son is upset when someone runs the ball.
As well as I do.
Got B-dogs.
Yeah, that's how we used to do it. Like if these kids would come in and play in the league, and they'd want to get the ball, throw. Well, we just burn them out on the clock. We just run that clock, and we'd run the ball 3 yards here, 4 yards here, 3 first down. You get it. So you're moving 10 yards. Every few plays you make a change, but you're cutting out what he can do on all. So by the time he gets the ball, every time he's almost in desperation. I got to do this. I got to do that. And then we just slow punch him again. And God forbid we get a turnover or the ball at halftime with the lead. Yeah,
it's that pressure. I mean, you're probably aware of this. I don't know, but in our first season of the dynasty last summer, so we started a dynasty, and we stopped at about 6 games in because the patch came out, and you couldn't carry over stuff. So we were like, hey, this game is not fully ready. So we ended our dynasty, and then we actually started another one. And in that one, I didn't go undefeated. Hell, I lost. My son beat the brakes off of me.
Yeah, I think I remember
in the regular season. Yeah, and then I beat him in the Big Ten championship game. He's Oregon. I was Ohio State. So I beat him. It was up to, he had the game won. He decided he was going to throw a stupid pass late in the game to run up the score, and I intercepted it and then went down the field in the last minute, running the ball the whole time. And then I went for 2, and I beat him, and he was stunned. I mean, stunned. And then it impacted his seeding. So, he was a favorite. And I ended up winning. So, anyway, my point was I played in the national championship game. I won the national championship game. I did not pass the ball one time. I'm not just saying hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating. I ran the ball every single down. My brother was stunned. He was the one announcing it. He had a co-host. And they're like, well, I wonder what he's going to do next. I'm probably going to run the ball. They're making those comments. But why would I risk throwing the ball, throwing a pick, or, bad? 3 things can happen when you pass the ball, and 2 of them are bad. Incomplete pass, or you throw an interception. You throw a good pass and complete it, but that's a 33% chance, something bad could happen.
No, you do.
And I'm not going to do something.
Yeah, you do what your opponent cannot stop. That's what you do. You
don't play. You can stop me.
Yeah, don't play to his strengths. Play to yours, So,
and there was a guy, who won a Madden championship, 10 years ago. Well, I think his name was Joke, whatever. He was a Cleveland Brown fan. I think he lived in Northeast, but he chose Cleveland because it was the easiest path for him. He never passed the ball. And his philosophy was, I'm going to run the ball until you prove you can stop the run. And then if you can, I am at least adequate enough that I can throw the ball around. But he's going to frustrate you. And that was my philosophy. Now we're in season 9 or 10, and, the one-star dynasty it's phenomenal. I'm New Mexico. I love it. I love playing for New Mexico more than I do Ohio State. I went out and bought, I got New Mexico swag. I've got shirts. I've got a polo.
Oh, that's right. You got all the stuff last year, man.
I love it. I love it. I bought these little, mini helmets I have for everyone in our dynasty. So everyone who's playing, I've got a mini helmet. I put them up on my mantle up here, and I've got all that stuff for my videos and everything. But my point is, now I'm New Mexico. I built them up from season 1 to where we're at now, season 9. Went to the national championship. I lost last year, but now I've switched, and instead of running the ball every down, I probably throw the ball every down. So it's totally different, but it depends on what team I'm using. And people play me as like, you're night and day between New Mexico and Ohio State. Like Ohio State, I still run the ball because I've got good running backs and great offensive line. New Mexico, I have to throw the ball, and I do. I mean, I'll throw the ball 50 times a game. I'm throwing the ball 600, 700 yards a game. But it's, depending on who I'm playing and what my personnel is, and what I play to my strengths.
I can't wait. I just can't wait to – it's funny, just like last year, and Rob and I talked about this a minute ago, once again, as always, buy the early access. But once again, as always, I'll be traveling.
Gonna miss it again.
In fact, I think Vic was playing his game. I think when I texted him, and I was like passing Louisville, saying, "Yeah, I'm headed home to go play." But I won't be home for. What's the regular release date? Is it like the 17th or something?
No. So here it is. So this year, if you go ahead and get the early access, The game comes out on July 7th. The regular street date, for everybody will be July 10th. So July 10th is a Thursday. But that July 7th is the early release. And I believe, and it's going to be like every year, I tell everyone this every year, I'm not sharing nothing new. And people are going to be stunned again. Some people are going to have this game on Sunday, July 6th. It is just because what they don't want to do is you don't want to roll out a game and then everyone jumps on the server all at one time and the servers crash.
That's exactly right.
So it's usually you get a chance to, some people, it's your luck. Some people are going to have the game at noon. Some people have the game at 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. It's going to be staggered.
Yeah, it's going to be very
because
close.
They don't want to overwhelm this. Yeah, I'm taking off that week. Last year I was lucky enough. I went to Orlando, went to EA. I'm hoping, I get to punch my ticket again, maybe go to Miami again. But regardless, I haven't told no one this yet, but this is what I'm doing. I'm going to take off from July 7th through the 11th. I'm going to take the whole week off and enjoy myself and play the game and, and get up to speed and compete like I always do. But yeah, I've got to take 3 weeks off anyway. I don't get to carry it over. So, this is the day I'm going to circle on my calendar and take off that whole week and just play the game as soon as it comes out.
Man, I think I'm leaving that day of the day right before. I'm not sure yet. And I'll be going to the 28th of the month, man. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So I'll be itching, but I'll be asking Vic for all the, hey, what is this in it? Is that in it? Is this in it? Yeah. So no, we're hyping this up right now. And, we're going to come back and do another episode with a little bit more detail on all that stuff. And as always, FAIRDALE Kings on YouTube especially. That's where you're going to get a lot of stuff, but he has stuff on Instagram and on Facebook. But his YouTube page will give you so much information as the season goes on. And
the 7th's coming up quick. July 7th's coming up quick.
I know it's coming.
June. June Sunday.
So YouTube and also Twitter or X, at FAIRDALE Kings. I put a lot of information there. We always post every time we got a game. We'll post the links that you guys can follow along if we're playing on
keep us posted on
Twitch
that.
or normally on YouTube.
Yeah, because I'll share that. I watched some of them last year, and I'll share that stuff this year more than I did last year. When I'm in town, I definitely do it, but
it's funny, man. I try to announce the games, when my son's playing, and he gets so damn frustrated because I'm in the background, and I'm not calling him a dumbass, but I'm calling him a dumbass. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why are we? I mean, I'm sitting there like, why are we doing this? I mean, this guy's in this coverage, you're missing. I mean, because everyone knows he does nothing but throw the ball 30-yard deep on every play, and there's guys running wide open 5 and 10 yards underneath, like throw the check down. Hey, why don't you run the ball every once in a while?
Well, that's it.
Just gets in his head.
Yeah, that's the difference in the college game compared to the pro. There's huge discrepancies on talent at certain matchups. It just will always be because you got kids coming fresh out of high school, man, and the skill set's not there yet, or it's just not gonna be there. Not even if you're talking about schools that are closer in power to each other. There's just some huge difference that in the NFL, boy, that line gets so thin. To who makes that cut.
I mean, they're pro athletes. They're all, they were all the best at where they were at. When you get to college, you better exploit the matchups, and it doesn't matter if it's receiver on DB, if it's, offensive lineman on defensive lineman, if you find something that you can win at, you better take advantage of it because, there's, like you said, you might have a 24-year-old senior out there who's red started and gray started and been in college 6 years, and he's going up against a true, and in a COVID year, and he's going up against a true freshman who, and it doesn't matter. It could be a 5-star program or it could be a 1-star program, whatever.
I feel bad.
A lot of it is still players, your skill level as a player. But, I can take Army, and I've beaten Ohio State and LSU and Alabama and those teams and road to college football playoff. But I could also take one of those teams and lose to a bum, and you lose to a Vandy or a Monroe, or whoever. Not throwing shade at, but those smaller schools. A lot of it is, are you really good at the game? And you can, overcome those situations. But some of it is, man, you just can't. players, it's Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's. You still got to have good players.
And you got transfers all over the place. Guys want to play, so you might see guys. So we had a guy here at a few weeks ago, Ian, and he had transferred from Texas to he's at Appalachian State. He's their punter this year. So yeah, that's all funny, man. We're gonna get his take on it a little bit later into the season too, when he's got a break or something. I'll check and see when they have a bye week, but we'll get him back on and get that. I'm sure because he'll play. He played it last year. He was in the game last year. So, but
yeah.
Man,
we got to get you in the league, man. I know you're busy, but God, dog, we got to figure out something. I mean, we might be in one of the slower leagues that we have where you don't have to kill yourself and play. Because, our leagues, the one-star dynasty, we play every night.
Oh,
we advance that league every night.
You know how I was when I was, just cracking the whip. Let's go. Let's play again. But, yeah, no, we'll work that out. But we'll let Vic, let's do this again. Like I said, in a couple,
love to.
You tell me when the getting is good because you got your ear closer to the ground than I do, and let's do it again before the season, before the game drops.
Got a lot of sources, but yeah, we'll definitely do this before the game drops, and just for the listeners, if you guys and I don't make a dime doing this. EA doesn't pay me. I'm not on their payroll. But you'll never hear me say an ill thing about EA Sports. I worked for Microsoft for a couple years, and I did the rosters back in the day. That's where I got my foot in the door with college football in this series. I put the names in the game when it wasn't allowed. Before these NIL deals. So from 2003 until 2014, for 11 years, I was the one who invested all those time and resources.
FAIRDALE King rosters.
There were names in the game.
Yeah.
For people to enjoy the game, because they want some, realism. It's this what they love. They don't want to see halfback 10, but it's a different era now. NIL, or these guys now getting paid. And last year was $600. This year's $1,500 for each player. But my point is,
it's pretty good.
I don't earn nothing from EA Sports, but I'm gonna tell you what, best deal is to get that MVP bundle. You'll get both College Football 26 and Madden 26. You get it for about $135, and then you get all those other little perks that are associated with it to help build your dynasty and your franchise. If you play, I didn't think I'd play Ultimate Team. I played Ultimate Team in this. I mean, it's just, I don't go buck wild. I'm not spending money out of my pocket, so I'm doing a lot of grinding, in that. But I can't play a dynasty game 24/7. So I'm sitting around, experimenting. I'll jump in cut and use a playbook that I like. And get more familiar with it. So it just gives me more time to play the game, experiencing it. But this game, man, it brings together so many different people and ages. It's one of them things, man. It's a unifier, man. People love playing games, and we saw that with the success that EA Sports had with this franchise, bringing it back after being dormant for 10 years. So
God
I'm thrilled to death. It's coming out. This second version, people are going to be excited. You should be excited. There's going to be a lot of things that hasn't been revealed, but from people I've spoke with, they're very excited about this second edition, man. And there's going to be some stuff that people haven't even asked for that you're going to see in the game. And it's not just reskinning the game, saying, hey, we just repackage it and we had to put it back out. No. A lot of hard work went into getting this game ready for this year. So I hope everyone enjoys it. Go out and get one of the, bundle, save yourself a little bit of money. And enjoy yourself, man. Take for what it is. It's a video game, but have fun with it.
Yep. And let's do this again soon, my man.
No doubt.
All right.
Look forward to it. And Doug, man, we got to get you back in here in the league, man. I know you miss it. I mean, that competitive nature,
I know.
And it's community. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we get in there and we talk up a little bit, a little smack. But, man, we have a good time with it. That's for sure.
That's always been the case, man. That's always.
And you're always good people, man. I mean, I've never had one person complain. Everyone's like, when's Doug coming around? Because you always drop off or send me those care packages. I don't get anything from that Tony Satchery side of things, man. But I love all your products, man. I mean, that's we haven't even talked about that, man. But I always welcome whenever you stop through or say hello, even if it's 5 minutes on the side of the road at a McDonald's, just chopping it up and catching up on old times, man.
You will
I
see.
wish you nothing but the best, man.
Same to you, man. I think you will see me unless you're going somewhere. I have a Cincinnati down to Nashville run coming up soon, so I'll text you those dates pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll be down in Alabama in late July. The people I work with, we bought a trucking company in Alabama, BR Williams Trucking. So every 3 months, I'm going down to Alabama or Atlanta. We're actually going to have a new office, one in Charlotte and one's going to be in Dallas. So I'm sure, in the near future, I'll be heading to those destinations as well. So maybe our paths will cross there as well.
Oh yeah,
we'll see.
Keep me posted on that.
Keeps me busy, man, for sure.
Do it. And like I said, we'll catch up soon, man. And like I said, everybody jump over to FAIRDALE Kings on X and also especially on YouTube because he's got some good videos. And this has been the
man, I don't take it so serious. I'll announce some games. We live stream games, and then, heck, during this dead period, and I haven't started yet, but I'll do skits and stuff, man. Just keep people interested until the game releases on July 7th. But it hasn't been hyped up as much as it was last year, but it was the first time in 10 years that it came back into fold. So maybe it slows down, and I'll put out some of those more videos and keep everyone entertained as well.
Do it, man. Yeah, I got to hurry up and finish up MLB this show. I think I got about 30 games left in my 162 game season, and
because college football comes out, you'll be
that's it,
playing that for sure.
Yeah, that's all I'll be playing. All right,
it's
Vic.
still immersive, man.
I know it is. I know. Well, let's get out of here, man. We'll do this again soon.
All right, man.
Hey, everybody.
Sounds good.
Please like and subscribe. And thanks for joining us today. And it's the Nonsense Chronicles, and we are out.